Welcome everybody to Amalgamation Nation. This is Tuesday, May 4th. May the 4th be with everybody today. I love that, like, Star Wars people, everyone just made it a nerdy holiday. It's fantastic. As of course, it's also Sports Talk Tuesday, so we've got a lot of sports to get into, including the whole Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packers drama, the NFL draft recap, Tom Wilson throwing hands for the Caps, Russell Westbrook tearing it up, and of course, BK's going to take us to the pitch, and so much more. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram. It's at AM Nation Pod on both of those. On YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation and hit that sub button. You can listen on podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Make sure you follow us on there, share it with a friend, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. If you want to be a part of the show, you can leave a voicemail or text the show at 815-556-9089. Send your questions, your comments, all that stuff right to there. We appreciate that as well. We're usually streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays, Tuesday for sports, Thursdays for gaming at twitch.tv/undeadblackbull as well. Make sure you go on there and follow David and give him a sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free sub a month. So give it to Undead Black Bull. And the whole month of May, we're raising money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. The goal is $500. Last year it was $100. We hit the $100. David took a pie to the face. If we hit the $500, I will take a pie to the face. You can find that link pinned on our Twitter at AMNationPod. Also on David's Twitter at Undead Black Bull, or twitch.tv/Undead Black Bull down below in his description. He has a little icon there as well. Of course, I am the anime watching booze, cruising Olivia Munslegan John Cena's following host is with the most is himself, Ryan Green Machine Ebner. And I've just thought of this off the top of my head. It is May 4th. I haven't done a question of the day in a long time. So my question for you, what after I introduce each of you, your two favorite Star Wars movies, all right? Two favorite Star Wars movies. All right, here we go. From North Carolina, Brendan B.K. Kennerly. BK, how are you, sir? And what are your two favorite Star Wars movies?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. And if anyone wants to know, I'm doing more pressure washing. Can't stop, won't stop. Gotta do the driveway. Gotta finish doing the walkways. It's gonna get done now. Two favorite Star Wars movies. Number one, uncontested, Empire Strikes Back. That was my pause for effect there. That's why I didn't say anything. The internet didn't go out, just in case podcast listeners
I got nervous.
There. Yeah. Oh, he froze again. No, Empire Strikes Back. And then, second, Rogue One. I love Rogue One's so good. So I like how there's like a nice finality to it as well. And if people haven't seen Rogue One, WTF? What's wrong with you?
Of course,
go watch it right now. Maybe I'll give you my movies anywhere username and password to log on so you can watch it because you need to go do that. But I won't because I have like hundreds of movies on there that I paid for. Unless you're my friend, then maybe I'll consider. I think P2 has the password, but
I do.
Yeah, he does.
Also, Mike says if we make it $600, he'll eat a pie. Well, that's fine. Sure. Just eat a whole pie on stream. I mean, you gotta get a webcam. That's what we can see. Or sit in David's chair. Your choice. That works too.
I still want like a little kid just to like kick you right in the nards. I think that would be really fun.
Mike? Oh yeah, it would be really good. Also joining the show, Petey Tahiti Argus. Pete, how are you? And what are your two favorite Star Wars movies?
Well, I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right. Just had a bachelor party for my future brother-in-law this past weekend. So, it took a few days to recover. So I'm back to normal. But yeah, I'm doing all right. Two favorite Star Wars movies. I'm going to go with number one, Return of the Jedi. Big fan of Return of the Jedi. Big fan of it. So I'm going to go Return of the Jedi, and I feel like I'm going to get more emotions from the two of you for this one. I'm going to go Force Awakens. I like it. I like it because it brought back Star Wars after after it's been a few years. It brought it back. I like the story. I know that the storyline is very similar to A New Hope. I get it. Like, it's like, Pete, it's a repeat. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I just like it, and it kind of kicks off, like, the new part of the Star Wars. Now, did it end the greatest? Some would debate, probably not. But hey, I like the movie. If it's on, I'm gonna be watching it.
It's like that other trilogy there. It's like the sophomore slump where like a rookie just comes out, just does like super hot, like Javon Curse,
Oh yeah, the Freak.
Yeah, the Freak tore it up the first couple of years, and then it was just absolutely downhill after that. Like, and I think that's like what that trilogy is, 7, 8, 9. It's just like, hey, we got a good trajectory here, and then it's just fall in space.
See, now, if I was a proper podcast captain, right, I would have set up a Star Wars show for May 4th. I probably would have. I didn't. But I do believe now with these answers, we are going to stem from this into a full-blown Star Wars ranking show. I can feel it because my top two... Okay, there's nothing wrong with Force Awakens, by the way. I actually really do love Force Awakens. I actually don't hate the new trilogy, but that's a topic for a different show. My top two, though, number one, without question, is Empire Strikes Back. My lord, it is just so good. My second, though, Revenge of the Sith. Big fan of that third movie. Big fan of it. It's one of those where like I see it on all the time on like FX or something, and I'll just watch it, and I enjoy the shit out of it. Do I like the prequels? No, very much don't. As I got older, when I was little, sure, I was just excited. Look at Jar Jar Binks. This is cool. And then I got older, and I was like, "Ooh, yikes, this isn't that great." Especially because they do my boy Darth Maul dirty, and the only reason General Grievous is as cool as he is because of the Clone Wars show. It's not even because of the movies. It's fine, but I do love Revenge of the Sith so much. It's the music and everything is Anakin. Because the whole time what's gonna happen. How this goes down, but at times, as you still watch it, you start to pick up on all the little things they add in there that could have changed it, right? Whether it's how Mace Windu handles situations, things with Obi-Wan, things with Palpatine and everything. Like there's just little things where you're like, oh, like that was different. Anakin wouldn't have been that way, and this is what it is. Obviously, if you haven't seen Star Wars, sorry, spoilers, but like get used to it.
I know what you mean. You watch episode 3, and you're just like. And you're kind of hoping that doesn't happen. Yeah. And I think that's part of like if you're a big Star Wars, you're like, all right, come on, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Also, the best lightsaber fights in that one, by far, the one between Obi-Wan and Anakin is it's easily the best lightsaber fight out of all the Star Wars movies, and it's not even close. I mean, is it a little long? Yes, but is it awesome? Yeah. Absolutely. I remember seeing that in theaters when they did midnight showing still. I was in high school. That was my senior year, I believe. And the guy next to us had a nice replica Darth Maul lightsaber one. It had the glass tubes on it, everything like that, lit up. It was so awesome. He let us play with us right there in the movie theater. So we were whipping it around this thing's awesome. And he was like, yeah, man. Yeah, I didn't tell my wife when I bought it, but yeah, she had to get over it.
Did you guys see Disney today announce, because they have the Star Wars land down there in Disney World now, and they showed the first official retractable lightsaber they revealed. It's not like those shitty plastic ones where literally what it's there's nothing, and then you turn the button and it's the light.
Oh,
I don't know how expensive they are, but I am gonna buy one. If I have to sell something, I will. Dude, I've never bought one of those before, but I'm all in. That is so cool. I feel like if you love Star Wars, you should own one in your life. Just to have it if you love it.
Yeah. Are we gonna? Maybe we can tease now. Should we do a Bad Batch review? Because that first episode came out today.
I haven't even.
I haven't watched it yet either. But we could review that.
We can review Bad Batch, and then we can review Invincibles. We're gonna do as well. Pretty awesome. Pretty excited about that. Got a lot of content coming at you, including, in case you missed it, we did do a Mortal Kombat review. That's out now. And Weebisodes, we talked about Demon Slayer Mugen Train. That is also out now on podcast services. So check that out. Now, let's get in to some sports talk. Let's start with NHL. Let's do it. I very much am a firm believer of when the Hawks suck, I don't have much to say. That's just how I feel. I don't have a lot when the Hawks are really bad, and that's kind of what they are, man. They're just super meh to me, and I saw Josh tweet about that. Josh, you can find him on Twitter at OnTapJosh. You know, my former co-host there, Natty Knights, also a part of Doza OJ. He tweeted about how Jeremy Carlton is like a 500 coach. Like, that's what he is. And that's not going to... It's going to win you championships. It's not going to be super successful. And he's also, I think he has no problem admitting he also has never been a big fan of Jeremy Carlton to begin with. And the Hawks right now, I believe, are 22, 24, and 6. That's 50 points. They're officially eliminated from the playoffs. They're gross. It's not good. I guess just, I guess it was a disappointing season, but we thought they were going to be bad anyway, right, Pete?
Yeah. I mean, Josh hit it, right in the head there. Maybe Jeremy's just he's just a bridge, coach. That's what he is. I mean, he's a bridge until they find something better. Until it's like he is the epitome of like, and no offense to Rick Renteria, I know that they had a good year last year, White Sox. I get it, but like
he's the same thing for the Cubs.
You had to get someone. Yeah, exactly. Like, and no offense to Ricky. Ricky Renteria did great, whatever, but he was just a bridge guy. That's really all he was. And is Jeremy Colleton? I don't know. Sure seems like it. They're not fun to watch. They're young right now, obviously. I think we led off talking about the NHL, and I said, let's look forward to 2022. I think that's what I honestly said. And, there were zero expectations for the team. So for them to do as well as they have, credit to Jeremy Colleton for being a 500 coach.
And with injuries and everything else that they suffered in retirements and everything else. And we don't know what's happened with Jonathan Toews, obviously, still. It's very the future is very murky for the Blackhawks, but we'll see how it goes. But the future could be bright for the brand new franchise in the NHL, the 32nd franchise. The Seattle Kraken are official. They will be able to play this upcoming season, I believe, right? 2021, 2022, I believe that's how that works. Yeah. They paid the $650 million.
That's how calendars work.
I thought so. I was very, very confused. It's also July 21st is the NHL expansion draft. So Unleash the Kraken. I swear there better be an Unleash the Kraken shirt. I'm going to buy one. It's dope. Just excited. I like new franchises. It's always cool. I was ready to get ready for a new NFL franchise, but we'll talk about that later. I don't feel I'm not jumping off the edge anymore, so I think we're okay. And then we do have, I want to get into this here. Well, first, I'll tell you the Caps sit at first in the East with 71 points and wrap up the regular season a week from today against the Bruins. The Caps playing great. Now, something happened with Tom Wilson, all right? Got a little hit. Now, Elaine left a voicemail. I'm going to give this a shot and hope everybody hears it, okay? At least you two hear it more than anything. But I'm going to play it, and hopefully y'all hear it. If not, whatever, I'll just read it to you. It's fine.
Hi, guys. It's Elaine. First of all, I wanted to say happy May the 4th be with you. Okay, anyways, I really wanted to call because I want to know BK's opinion on Sir Thomas Wilson from the good old Washington Capitals and the bullshit that this young whippersnapper pulled last night against the New York Rangers. This is hockey talk, and I don't apologize for that happening. Okay, I hope everyone has a delightful day. Bye.
Elaine, thank you for a voicemail. Thank you very, very, very much. Of course, if you want to be a part of the show anytime, leave a voicemail, comments, questions, all those good things. 815-556-9089. BK, that question is addressed to you, so I'm going to let you handle it.
Yes, so obviously, thank you for the voicemail. Second, it's Tom Wilson. He's kind of a dirty player. We all kind of know this. We don't have to go through his history. He was suspended, 7 games earlier in the year for his hit on Brandon Carlo, the Boston Bruins defenseman there. But look, punched him a little bit in the back / side of the head when the guy was laying down on the ice. Just gave him a little happy nudge right there. It's like, hey, wake up. You're falling asleep. I'm just trying to wake you back up. It was like a little smelling salt, but just with his fist to the back of his head. Look, and then the Rangers obviously getting upset about that. That's fine. But that I don't understand the whole Panarin thing. People are like, oh, he should have got fined for that. Panarin came around his back and he throws him down twice. Come on. Like, you come from behind a man, and he throws you down twice? No sympathy for me there. None whatsoever. Also, it's the Rangers, division rival. Fuck them. Fuck them. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I remember when Haloti Ngata, he broke Ben Roethlisberger's nose, and I was like, "You damn right you did. Do it again. But next time you play him, break it again. Do it."
This is why they're okay with having murderers on their team. I understand.
Yep.
I understand.
Oh man, come on.
Rings don't lie.
Dude,
Man.
that's true. That's true. That man said, I got 2 rings and 2 murder
Man.
charges dropped. Let's roll. You're right.
Oh man.
We're 2 firsts.
I know.
Man.
Get off on the other 2, I guess.
No, so PT, you watched the hit. Do you agree there with BK?
I mean, I don't know if I'm agreeing with most of what BK said. The whole, just waking him up. I'm pretty sure Panarin was awake. All right. I think Tom Wilson was trying to knock him out. So I think it was an opposite effect there on that. I mean, I get it from like Wilson's perspective, like at least at the beginning, like Panarin, messing with him. But like, when you look at it in slow-mo, a lot of things can look way worse than they are. But like you just see him like pulling his hair down and just swinging him down, like that's just bad. But I mean, it was also bad on Panarin's part. Like, you're gonna mess with Tom Wilson? I think you're just asking for something, at that point. And no offense to Panarin, but Panarin's not the biggest dude either. So, like, I mean, you're messing with Tom Wilson. Like, that's not we're not comparing apples to apples here, between the two of them. But yeah, I mean, when your name's Tom Wilson, no matter what the hit is, it gets enhanced. So, yeah, and shout out to Elaine for like saying that Tom Wilson was a young whippersnapper, because I had no idea that dude is younger than me. So, shout out to Tom Wilson and him being a lot younger just based on his record. That about Tom Wilson. So, but yeah, no, I think the play was pretty dirty. I mean, I understand it from BK's perspective for the whole rivalry part, but like, I mean, he just threw him right to the ice. Like, I mean, this is like reminiscent of like back in the day of the dude, I forgot his name, the defensive lineman for the Packers that threw down Jim McMahon like the year after the Bears went to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. Now that's what it looked like. Just him, boom, throwing him right down. So, and hey, that was dirty then. It's still dirty, obviously now. So,
oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. I understand like the idea we're getting real physical and tough hockey. I get that, and that it is a division. But damn, whooped his ass. Oh my lord! But yeah, also, what are you doing? What is Panarin doing? Just get out of there. I get it, but like, you're like 150 wet. Chill out, man. You already got the Russians on you, and now man. I don't know. Who do you want to piss off more, Tom Wilson or Vladimir Putin, man? Figure it out.
Tom Wilson. You'd rather piss off Tom Wilson. Ask Navalny. Ask that guy. He had to go on a hunger strike and all that stuff over there. Yeah, and can't get real doctors to see him. So, trust me on that one.
Tough stuff. Carlos Gangstas, what's up, guys? What's up, Carlos? What's up, dude? How's it going, buddy? Carlos had, Pete, you'd appreciate this. Side note before we get to the NBA here. So Carlos, I can't remember, BK sent us a very colorful video during in our text chat, AM Nation chat. And I'm like, every time, I'm like, dude, this motherfucker, just every time. So Carlos was with me at work and I showed it to him and he goes, yo, give me his number. I'm like, you want his number? He's like, yeah, I'm going to text him. He's like, I want to invite him to a game. I'm like, okay. So Carlos takes BK's number and sends him a game of darts. He's like, holy shit, he's playing me, bro. So BK is playing this man in darts. And BK responds, goes, I don't know who you are. I know it's somebody in Northern Illinois, but I can't say no to darts. So he's playing. Oh,
God.
And then he asked me who it is, and he eventually figured it out. It was El Primo Carlos. And yeah, so then we had a separate chat, the three of us. That's some stupid shit. Oh, good stuff.
My God.
Fantastic. I was just shocked that he played.
I love that. I love that BK said, "Oh yeah, I see you're from Northern Illinois." Like that he looked up his zip code to know what part of Illinois
He
he's
did.
from.
He did.
Like, love it. Yes.
My thought process
That's why I have
automatically.
3 monitors, so I can look up area codes so easily on the 3 monitors at work.
My process, I'm like, oh, you know what? He probably is like, wait a minute. So like everybody else in this group chat pretty much has an 815 or some type of number in that way. He's like, so it has to be somebody that like from the show or somebody that they know.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, it was El Primo
You
Carlos.
know, I have everyone else's number like saved in my phone already. So, and I actually have like their real name and all that stuff. So.
That was fantastic. That was great. That made me laugh when he said, "I don't know who this is, but I can't say no to the darts."
And I'll whoop that ass.
You did.
Bring it up, Primo. Let's go.
That was impressive. Let's get to the hardwood.
I got lucky.
You did. I watched it.
I got lucky.
I watched. He was this close to nailing it too. I saw it, man. Saw it all break down, play by play. It was pretty great. So the Suns are heading to the playoffs for the first time since 2010. You might be sitting there like, Ryan, why are you talking about the Suns? Well, I'll tell you exactly why. Because Dan the Freakster Frigo was at the game when they clinched the spot. I thought that was really dope for him to be out there. Chris Paul has looked like MVP form. It's been fantastic. And also, I do want to give a shout out to Devin Booker because he is literally the definition of trusting the process. Like he was out there. He's been out there when the teams are really bad. Really, really bad. And he has stayed out there, and look at this now. They go and get Chris Paul, and this team's playing great. So you love to see it.
Yeah. Shout out to Dan. I hope to God, like, he just becomes a Suns fan and just gets rid of the Bulls and gets rid of the disappointment. So props to you, Dan. Props to you.
Well, I really love that, Dan was on assignment there for the AM Nation, and he's been working so hard going to these Suns games that he's too tired to show up on the podcast. Like, I get it. I'm glad he's put in the work elsewhere. So I love the tenacity. I love the effort.
That's true. Shout out to you, Dan. Doing great out there, buddy. I still want the those city jersey things, the Valley one, and I want it with Stay Breezy on the back real bad.
I want P2 to get one so then he can hang it up and then he can just like sit there and do the thing with their mom. Like, yeah, look at that sunset. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. You see this cloudy day in Cleveland? Guess what? It's always a beautiful sunset. Let's go.
Welcome to the Valley.
Welcome to the Valley.
Fantastic. Also, I feel kind of bad for Jason Tatum. He just casually dropped 60 points, but it was in the middle of the draft night, so nobody gave a shit. Nobody cared. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, Frank, the Suns his team. The Suns are his team since Barkley is playing there. So shout out to you, Frank. There you go. Shout out to the Suns, dude. You guys have all gone through some tough times. Let me tell you that. Hats off to you. Giannis dunks and outduels Kevin Durant to lead the Bucks to a win over the Nets the other night. Giannis dropped 49. That's what MVPs are supposed to do. So shout out to Giannis for doing what he's supposed to do. I appreciate it. Nets governor Joe Tsai is among leaders of donating $250 million toward the AAPI anti-discrimination effort. Those funds are to help support organizations and causes specific to the Asian American and Pacific Islanders. So that's awesome, too, to see. There's a lot of other people in the NBA, I think, as well, getting involved in it. So that's great, too, and across the NFL, too, so, and other sports. So that's awesome to see. Good to see that's happening there. I did want to talk about this a little bit here. LeBron and the Lakers, they are kind of in a little bit of trouble, right? Little bit of trouble. They might have to play in the play-in tourney. And Mr. LeBron James, I'm not very critical of LeBron James a whole lot. I tend to not be. Big LeBron guy. However, so he talked after the game, and he's talking about, watching himself and knowing his body and all that stuff. They asked about the play-in tournament, and he said, quote, "Whoever came up with that shit should be fired." Now, let's flash back to a year ago when LeBron was all for the play-in tournament. Yeah, those guys should play. They should have good competition. That should happen. Now, when the Lakers, who have been banged up all year, and of course a shortened season for them and all that, shortened off season, I understand. Now they are, in fact, in the danger zone. They might have to go and play in the tournament. Danger zone! But LeBron's very, very upset about it. BK, I saw you kind of tended to agree with him on this, so I'll let you go first.
I do, and as I'm a Wizards fan, as everyone knows, and the Wizards are in the 10th and final play-in spot, and I think it's dumb. They already have 7-game series, and too many teams already make the playoffs for the NBA and honestly for the NHL too. So it just lengthens it. I don't want that. I just don't really care unless you're just going to do the whole playoffs as like a tournament style, something like that. I'm on board with that. If you make the NBA playoffs more like the NCAA tournament, oh buddy, am I on board? Is that really really cool? But that's just not possible, like TV contract wise. They'd be giving up too many games. But I think he has a point.
Pete,
I mean, he for sure has a point. 66% of the NBA should not make the playoffs. I mean, let's just be honest. It should not happen. But, I mean, he also shouldn't have said what he said last year. So that's where it kind of sucks from his perspective. And, yeah, it does stink for them. Both him and AD having injuries here at the end of this year. So I completely understand why he would be against it. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm LeBron, maybe I don't publicly say this, but, yeah, it does suck. I mean, and it sucks even more, and I'll talk about it again, that the Bulls aren't even going to make it. I mean, they'll be one of the 33% that will not make it. So we're killing it. We're killing it. Let's go Bulls.
it's all strategy.
Only 4 games.
It's all big brain strategy here. We're trying to keep this
right.
Cade Cunningham?
Dude.
Cade Cunningham, let's go.
That's how you rebuild a Bulls
Jalen Suggs, either one.
Or Jalen Suggs.
Just get rid of 4 or 5 first-round picks in the next 5 years. Let's get number 1. Let's do it.
Do what we gotta do. Get it.
Do what you gotta do.
Wow, I love it.
Now hell yeah, we're going all off Cade Cunningham, baby. Let's do it. Now you did mention the Wizards, so I would like to introduce you here to Russell Muscle Hustle Westbrook, dude. Absolute stud. The Wizards and the Russell Westbrook are all playing really well. The Wizards have won 13 of their last 16 contests, most recently beating the Pacers last night 154-141, where Russell Westbrook tied the single-game assist franchise record with Kevin Porter with 24 assists on the night. That's actually 6 shy of tying Scott Skiles for the NBA record for most assists in a single game. Scott Skiles, former head coach of the Bulls. Shout out to him. Way to go. Russ recorded his second ever 20 rebound and 20 assist triple-double. The only other player to ever do that, that would be Wilt Chamberlain. More Russell Westbrook love. Let's do it. Since April 7th, Westbrook's assists have led to 31.6 points per game. Second in the league during that time to Luka at 24.8. Now let's get let's be kind of play both sides here with Russell. Of 66 players in the NBA to attempt 400 jump shots, he ranks dead last in efficiency. Basically, and I think BK and I talked about this yesterday. When he's facilitating the offense, boy, it's fantastic. When he's trying to make a shot creator and stuff, no, that's garbage. That's not what Russell Westbrook is. Russell Westbrook is just a fantastic hustler, a fantastic baller. But when it comes to if Russell Westbrook played when the 3-point ball wasn't so dominant, I think we would look at Russell Westbrook very different than we do. I think there'd be more love for him than there. I'm not saying there's not love for him. Russ Westbrook is among the greats for what he does, right? I mean, he made the triple-double normal, in a sense, right? Where now we come to expect it because of Russell Westbrook. But when you have such an awful jump shot and 3-pointers are make or break in the NBA right now, it kind of shines a really bad light on him. But BK, your thoughts here on the role Westbrook and the Wizards have been on?
Well, it's been actually fun to watch Wizards basketball, believe it or not, and just going back to it's my big gripe with Russell Westbrook is that just more often than not he doesn't run an actual offense. It's very it's all ISOs. It's very teamwork's not great. But then on this run here, and we alluded to it, when he's actually facilitating, running an offense, he's getting other players involved, and that's the goal. It's not shoot first and then pass out if he gets into a jam real quick. It's more okay, I'm gonna try to set someone else up, and if I get the lane essentially to go take a layup or something within 3 or 4 feet, take it, shoot it at that point. it's the offense is working great. I mean, Bradley Beal is playing good, which isn't surprising at all. But the young guys, what I was texting you about, they're getting a lot more shots up. Davis Bertans is getting a lot of shots up. Rui Hachimura getting a lot of shots up. It's more fun to watch this, and I'm not exactly sure how long this will last. And that's not a slight against Russell or Bradley, but it's a slight on the rest of the Wizards roster, just because I don't know how far those two can carry the rest of the team.
Well, yeah, I mean, like to Frank's point, whatever happened to Gilbert Arenas? The Wizards, right? I mean, you've had the late.
You brought a gun into the locker room.
You had oh yeah, that's right. That's so true. That totally is what happened. For the Wizards, right? You've had Michael Jordan at the end of his run. You had Gilbert Arenas, Agent Zero, who was very exciting. Before obviously, he brought a. Well, I mean, it was kind of exciting to bring the gun in there, but not good. Not a good.
I have a Gilbert Arenas jersey still. It's great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I mean, Agent Zero.
Didn't they have
those were good
gold
Wizards
ones?
Teams.
Oh yeah.
Oh, those were so garish and ugly. Those were the worst things ever. I wasn't even a big fan of those weird blue and black ones, and just where he had the wizard and he has a crescent moon basketball on his finger. It was terrible logo. Terrible. Now, did I have one of those starter puffy pullover jackets when I was a kid? You're fucking right, I did, and it was fucking awesome. But that doesn't take away from the fact that logo was absolute shit. And I'm so happy they switched to the new color scheme. Also, shout out to Ted Leonsis. He owns the Wizards and the Caps, because they kind of both switched around the same time to the more traditional, red, white, and blue, and colors and all that stuff. It looks so much better. It's great. The new jerseys, they're so much better. Improved.
Of course. Yes, the Wizards are right now, yes, like BK said earlier, in the 10th spot, getting ready to get into the play-in tourney. We will see how that goes. But they're hot at the right time, though. That is something to keep in mind. They are hot at the right time. I think before the season, yes, we all kind of were, at least that the Wizards are going to make the top 8. That's what we thought, right, that they would get in. And it took them until the last, I would say, month or so to really start getting it. So it's pretty dope. Let's see. So that's NBA. Let's jump into the pitch. I'm going to hit that music. Boom.
It's time for BK to take you to the pitch.
Word. Oh, you did miss one of the notes on the NBA news there.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
That Tim and BK pulled off the upsets in fantasy basketball.
So right,
BK being the 5th seed, beat the 4th seed. That is you. Crushed you like a grape. Beat you by 1,000. Crushed you like a grape.
And I tried. That was the worst part.
and then Tim pulled the upset on our very own David Undead Black Bull. So, and I'm going against Pete, and I'm gonna lose, I think, because Pete's got a great team.
Oh, you know what, BK, I don't want to hear it. It's Tuesday, man. There's so much left.
Russell Westbrook had 125 points for you last night. It was nuts.
Hey, the guy that we were just talking about in the NBA, LeBron James, complaining about the play-in tournament, thinking about sitting out the rest of the week. So thanks, LeBron. Thanks, LPJ. Thank you.
That will help me out. All right, taking us to the pitch now here for real. Roma announced Jose Mourinho to become their new head coach for the upcoming season. He was most recently at Tottenham, didn't do so hot. And we'll actually get into some more Roma news here towards the bottom of this. Arsenal lost their first leg of the Europa League semi to Villarreal and will play host to them on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. If Arsenal wins the game 1-0, they will advance to the next round based on aggregate, and the away goals are worth more than the home goals. Arsenal beat Newcastle 2-1 over the weekend in Premier League action with goals from El Neni and Auba. Man U trounced Roma, so there you go, bringing it full circle there. 6-2 at Old Trafford in the first leg of the Europa League semis. They also play this Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Like we said last week, it's really dumb that both games are at the same time.
Makes zero sense.
I maybe Europeans are bad with TV contracts. I don't know. Please email us at amnationpod@gmail.com or reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and let us know. TV contracts out there, how you guys like them or dislike them. Because at least having both the games at 3 p.m., I dislike them, and I'm not even in the same country.
I have to assume that it's really awful because even the streaming rights are awful.
Yeah, it's got to be bad. And thank you for bringing up the streaming here, because we're about to get into that a little bit. I was streaming, well, like what kind of like streaming? YouTube TV. That's what I have, and that's how I was going to watch the Arsenal game here against Newcastle United over the weekend. And I was watching it, and then this whole news happened at Old Trafford, where there were a bunch of protests were happening from fans upset about ownership trying to join the failed Europa Super League. If you have no idea what we're talking about there, please go back. Well, it's probably 2 or 3 episodes. Go back in the channel, look it up, let us know what you think. But the fans were protesting that, which was expected. But then things kind of took a turn for the worse. The fans broke into the grounds of the stadium, and Man United was supposed to have a game that day against Liverpool. It's a decent rivalry game there. It's a pretty big game. And the media and a bunch of personalities were actually already there. And my gripe about when this was happening is that they kind of cut away from the Arsenal game. Or they did picture-in-picture. So they had both games. They had like the coverage of fans breaking into the stadium where it's more or less like they're on the grounds. And then they have the Arsenal game. And they're only commentating the fans breaking in to the grounds at Old Trafford. That's it. And they were telling us like, oh, well, we have to cover this. This is more important than the Arsenal-Newcastle game. And I was like, you have this whole brand new thing called Peacock. You could have just thrown it on there. That would have been perfectly fine with me. I wouldn't have cared. Or how about you can show the updates from what's happening at Old Trafford like that, but don't make it the pure commentary of that and having no commentary of the Arsenal game. It's pretty piss poor. And then another reason why the game was delayed because of the break into the grounds is because one individual, that's from what I've been reading, only one person, but that one person got into the locker rooms, and so that's why they had to completely postpone it because of the whole COVID-19 protocols and all that stuff like that, so they couldn't risk it, shut it down. But just, I don't understand. It's like so like let's say there's a game between Chicago Bulls and the Washington Wizards in this case. We'll just do that. We'll do all the teams that we care about. Mm-hmm. And then let's say at like the Lakers arena, there's just like a break-in like one night, like before the game starts. And then all of a sudden, whatever channel is, they just break away like, we're gonna follow this one person breaking into the Lakers arena. It's gonna be like, I don't care.
I'd be so pissed if Stacey King was talking about the Lakers during the Bulls game.
So true. Oh, Stacey. Like, come on, man.
Beep, beep.
Unbelievable.
Am I valid in my reasoning, or am I being?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, like, what are we doing? Like, that's ridiculous that they even like thought that. Hey, you know what? This is good. We're doing good here.
This isn't like when like a massive event happens, right? Like a terrorist attack, or some type of bombing, or well here in America maybe a shooting. I don't know. But like those are events where I understand where you need to take it away from the coverage. When it's someone's breaking into the facility or something, I think it's fine to bring it up, but not to make the whole presentation about it.
Yeah, and like there weren't like any fights or whatever, and like the cops, like they weren't even running onto the scene. I watched all of this. I saw the cops strolling, like they were walking up, and they just told the people, "Hey, we need to funnel you towards this exit," and the people did. So like, it was not that entertaining. It just, I agree with it. It needs to be like landmark moments. That was not it. Yeah. In Champions League action, Man City knocked out PSG in the Champions League semifinals. Chelsea and Real Madrid meet tomorrow after the 1-1 finish in the first leg. So we'll see if Chelsea, another Premier League team, and also a team that was in the ESL, failed ESL, will make it on to the finals.
Nice. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Wait, take us to the pitch, BK. Very good, very good, very good. Now, I will allow Petey Tahiti to take us around the diamond. Pete, if you would be so kind.
Oh yeah. I'll switch up the order here because I like to end on a positive note. So we'll start off with negative baseball. So MLB has placed Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar on the ineligible list after sexual misconduct allegations made against him. The claim was from 2014. Good old Bobby Manfred said after that they did their own investigation and it was found that Alomar violated MLB conduct policies. Hall of Fame said his plaque will remain on display there in Cooperstown. Blue Jays have cut ties with Alomar as well. So, not great. Not great baseball. Like, hey, it's been a few weeks in their defense. I mean,
think it might have been a month. So
yeah, I mean, hey,
4 weeks.
yeah, I mean, starting off May, not great, but it's okay. It's fine. So, yeah, obviously, terrible situation there. I don't think I don't know if you guys have any further comments that you want to have on this.
Well, Roberto Alomar had mentioned that it's going to be a thing where he understands baseball's decision on why they had to do that with everything going on, but he's hoping that once he's able to go to court and everything is heard out, that it will be be fixed. It will be he'll be proven innocent, and they'll be able to get back. He'll be able to get back on track with baseball. But I understand baseball's decision to do this. People, it's very bad. To Frank's point about the guy on the Angels, I think you're talking about Callaway. I don't think Callaway still has a job.
I think he's on, what is it? It's not like not suspended list. It's like, isn't it like the commissioner's list or something like that?
Like
or
the exempt list?
Yeah, or something weird. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mickey's not with them. I mean, I'm
if that's
pretty
true,
sure about
yeah,
that.
that's really bad. They must not have been listening to
Yeah.
AM Nation, but that's what it was.
Yeah. But maybe, yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. But I guess next for baseball, we'll go for the Sox. Can't figure it out against Cleveland this weekend. Lose 2 of 3. Rondon and Cease pitched great, though, this past weekend. Sad news, Luis Robert, one of the top prospects in baseball, was really going to have, probably a great year. Went down with a hip injury. Will miss 12 to 14 weeks. Wonder if the Sox will address their banged-up outfield. Obviously, I'm going to go to our host with the most to see what Ryan's thoughts are on what the heck the Sox should do here.
It's never can be good. Never, right? The Bears have a great weekend, so the Sox have to fall through. The Bulls, they're bad too. The Hawks are bad. Man, tough. Yes, shout out to Cease tonight. Yes, Frank, that is correct. Played great tonight. Carlos Rodon's been playing great as well. But yeah, with everything with Luis Robert, like this is. It's just so shitty. But I am nervous of what the Sox try to do. I don't want them to trade the farm for something. Like I don't want that. But there's a guy out there. His name's Yasiel Puig. He's just kind of chilling.
Yep.
He's a free agent. He's kind of cool. Maybe bring him in. I don't know. See what happens. I'm all about bringing Puig in. I think that'd be great. You move Adam Eaton over in the center, and hey, we'll make it work. Also, Andrew Vaughn tearing it up with the bat lately. That's good to see. But this is a tough break for the Sox. Luis Robert, absolute stud. Got a huge ceiling. But now with him and Eloy both out, this is just really, really shitty. I didn't throw this in here, but you got everything supposedly going on that there's a locker room issue with La Russa. Don't know who would have thought that was going to happen. Oh yeah, everybody thought that was going to happen. Abreu, though, being the awesome team captain that he is, came out in defense of his skipper La Russa and said they have his back on his decisions that he makes. Tough. I will say this though, Sox Twitter out here acting like Rick Renteria was God. Like Rick Renteria was going to take the Sox to the promised land. I understand not maybe agreeing with the La Russa hire. Trust me, I didn't either. But, I mean, one of them is a Hall of Fame manager and one of them isn't. So, is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we talked a little bit about, good old Ricky before. I mean, he's not going to be the guy that gets you there. So, was LaRussa the right hire? I mean, we don't know. Was Renteria the right guy? I mean, I think we can all
Probably
kind of
not.
agree he's not. He's not. So, but one guy who we can agree is a Hall of Famer. Max Scherzer throws a complete game, and then joins his wife for birth of their child. And I know I can already tell that these are definitely BK comments. So I'm just gonna say it. Like a stud. Studs in all caps, of course. Word on the street he is already impregnating her again, double stud or double stuffed. So this is from BK. This is from BK. Also,
Absolutely.
I love how we're doing the St. Jude during this time, but that was all clean cut. That was, there wasn't any bad words in there.
Yeah.
So
No, that was a great reading.
yes, yeah. So
And also, I want to give a quick shout out to Frank because he actually answered the whole soccer question there real quick. He said that it prevents teams from using their benchmarks. Like you actually use your starters, people pay for them. And if you think of it like that, like the last game of the NFL season and baseball, they always play at the same time, so no one has the advantage in resting guys. So that makes sense. Thanks, Frank. Back to you, Petey Tahiti.
thanks, Frank. And then, another future Hall of Famer. No, I can't say it with a straight face. But Chris Bryant wins NL Player of the Week this past week. Tore it up, hit 417 this week. 6 runs, scored 10 hits, 3 doubles, 4 homers, 10 ribbies over the last 6 games. But the Cubs lose 2 of 3 to the Reds. So that's not the main part. The main part is Cubs pay Chris Bryant. Just figure it out. Just pay him. I don't know how else you're going to pay him. I don't know. Just figure it out. Clearly this guy needs to be paid. Let's just figure that out.
Well, he's playing like he wants to be paid. I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
Either by the Cubs or someone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Question for you, Pete, is who would you rather re-sign? Chris Bryant or the Captain Rizzo?
Oh my God.
Let's just say a hypothetical scenario where you can only sign one. I know it's terrible.
Are you keeping Javi or no?
Oh, okay. Now, if Javi's in that conversation and I have to pick 2 of 3, then it's easy. Sorry, Javi, get out. You gotta go.
I figured if it was 2 or 3, I figured.
Yeah, because I just feel like shortstop, and especially in the Cubs farm system, you could figure out something. Shortstop's a position that you could figure out. I feel like for third base and also first base, you got to have guys. So I feel like those, and not trying to be, baseball pun guy, but you got to have those cornerstone guys there on your diamond.
Nice.
No, you got to pay Rizzo. You have to pay Rizzo. If you're going to choose between the two, you pay Rizzo. That's who I think you pay. You pay Rizzo just based on, that's the leader of your team. That's who you pay. But if you're the Cubs and you're a big market team, like you're supposedly, you pay both of them and you figure it out. You figure it out. You can't, if you can't pay Javi, that's fine. Let's move on. The dude, he can't hit a slider. That's 2 feet, off the ground. And then he can't hit a fastball either. So, but if you hang a breaking ball down the middle, it is gone.
But
if you do that,
got a great meme now where he's out there giving the middle finger, so that's pretty sweet. Cub fans love that shit.
I love that. Let's frame that shit. Blow it up. Put it on a canvas.
Blow it up.
You got a shirt out.
Absolutely. Yep.
Put it right next to the Valley jersey.
Yeah. Say we're number 1. So.
Sox would beat the Reds for you right now. 8-0.
Let's go. Let's go. The Cubs were winning at this time. I don't know what it is now, but they destroyed the Dodgers in their doubleheader. It's still 1-0.
Yeah,
Let's go. But yeah, and then for baseball, I'll open this up for anyone. I'll start with BK. But first month of the season, it's come to an end. We're in the first week of May. The weather's starting to turn in more baseball weather. But BK, any surprises or disappointments, that you could really say from the first month of baseball this so far?
No, honestly, not for me as an Orioles fan. The Orioles sit just under 500. They're at 14-15 overall. I kind of like the steps that Ryan Mountcastle is making for the steps forward he's making this year. English is hard sometimes. Austin Hayes is finally looking like the guy we drafted like years ago. He's getting nice contact on the ball. Cesar Valdez just got his 7th save last night. He's just like a solid bullpen arm, and honestly, that's another great player for trade bait to trade a team that needs to shore up the end of their bullpen there when they're making a postseason run. We can bring in more prospects. I'm actually I don't want to say excited, but I am. The Orioles aren't absolute crap. Whatever the baseball whatever prediction thing. So they had a 0.1% chance of making the postseason. I'm not saying that it should have been too much higher, but they're not the worst team in baseball like they predicted.
That'd be
They're not anywhere close to it.
Yep.
Well, that's good. For me, it is. I guess I'll stick with the Sox. It's Mercedes and Carlos Rodon. Mercedes just won AL Rookie of the Month. Probably the oldest player to ever do that. But absolute unit. But Carlos Rodon getting robbed of the AL Pitcher of the Month by some guy named Garrett Cole. It's complete bullshit. 4-0, 0.72 ERA, and a no-no. A tap foot away from a perfect game. Kiss my ass, baseball. My God. But yeah, Carlos Rodon playing unbelievable. It's absolutely insane, especially considering that the rest of the rotation, besides Assis, has actually been playing really well too. Giolito, the ace, has been struggling. I don't know. Fingers crossed he's not hurt. Something ain't right with Giolito right now. Keuchel's been all right. Lance Lynn's been all right. But yeah, I think for that, it's Mercedes being the spark for the White Sox lineup and Carlos Rodon being the heavy lifting out there for the rotation. Who would have thunk? Because I didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I guess for my Cubs, surprises, disappointments. Let's just go to Chris Bryant. How about Chris Bryant? All right, he's been great so far this year. It really shows when Chris is healthy, he can be a superstar player. He definitely still can. So that just really shows that last year, how many injuries he fought through. Props to him. Another guy that's really had a bounce back is Craig Kimbrell. Kimbrell has been fantastic here for the Cubs this year. I might jinx it because he might be pitching here, while we're talking here soon. And probably going to blow it. But he is not allowed to run this year. He's been fantastic. He's been great. He's got 18 strikeouts in 11 innings. He's been awesome. So props to Craig. Now, I guess on a negative standpoint, the starting pitching has been trash. We didn't expect much from this starting pitching when you basically get rid of your NL Cy Young runner-up. And, obviously the starters aren't going to be as good. You lose Lester. So I didn't expect much out of the rotation. Hendricks pitched great today. Other than that, he's really kind of pitched like crap for most of the year. So that's been kind of shocking. But no, they need more innings out of these guys because our bullpen's going to die. Our middle relief isn't good. It's not good anyway. And when you give them 5 innings of crappy baseball and the bullpen has to come in for the other 4, it's going to be terrible. So the starters have got to figure this out. And they got to go longer in games. If not, Cubs are, they're already not sitting great. But it's going to get worse. And then Chris is going to get traded here at the deadline and then sign back with the Cubs in the offseason. Let's go.
Wow.
Ooh, that would be.
No, I don't think that. No. The Cubs aren't cool enough. They're not going to do that.
Pulling the old Aroldis Chapman there.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool if they did that. That'd be cool though. But yeah, that wraps it up for baseball talk.
All right, Peter Tahiti, thank you for taking us around the diamond. Just before we get in the NFL talk, former NASCAR driver Eric McClure passed away at 42 years old the other day. He suffered from a lot of health issues, is what I was reading, but they didn't release an official cause of death. But very sad for NASCAR to lose one of their own. I know he had to stop driving because of persistent health issues, so that's something to note. As well. Now let's get to the NFL. We had the draft this weekend. I think everybody here, we can agree. The NFL draft is just so electric, right? We make it electric. Now, although, boy, that first round's long. Boy, indeed it is. We were doing a show, the gaming show on Thursday, and I had a hard time focusing on that. But man, it was long because I think we stayed up to finish it. My God,
No, we did.
bad
It was.
decision.
I was tired for the next day of work. I was like, oh boy, this is okay. I feel like I went to bed at like 1.
It definitely feels like it. Before we get into that, we got a couple of things here. Let's go with the Ravens signing two-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Alejandro Villanueva to a 2-year, $14 million deal with $8 million guaranteed. He now, I guess, would fill the void left by Orlando Brown at right tackle. Former Steeler, by the way. Very nice. Way to go. Way to get yourself somebody from the division. Great job, BK. You feel good?
Oh, absolutely, because we'll get into here in a little bit, but because the Ravens didn't address offensive tackle in the draft, so it was kind of like. But I was like hearing there was like they were bringing a few guys in for workouts at the tackle position, so I kind of had a feeling that they were gonna sign a guy in free agency, and I'm absolutely glad they did. This is a great pickup. I mean, he was the starting left tackle for them for the last few years here on what was a pretty good offensive line for the Steelers for the past few years. It's going to be interesting to see how that Steelers line does moving forward when they're missing 2 out of their 5 starters, with Pouncey, of course, retiring. And I mean, both guys are Pro Bowlers. I mean, right. Those are big losses.
100%. Now, before the draft, the day of the draft, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were all over the news, all over everything. We weren't talking about Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, J.C. Horn, anybody. We weren't doing that. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers and a potential divorce with the Green Bay Packers yet again. Pete, I want you to start. Obviously, you're the Packer fan of the bunch. This will be your thoughts on everything going on, and then BK and I will jump in once you're done.
Yeah. So I'll start with this. I know I just talked about Craig Kimbrell. Just looked at it. Craig gave up a dinger to Max Muncy in the 7th inning because that's what we do for doubleheaders. So it's a tie ball game. But shout out to Max Muncy for actually hitting a dinger for my terrible fantasy baseball team. All right. So now I'll segue to Packers situation here with Aaron Rodgers. So obviously, not a great situation as a Packer fan here right now, just because, I mean, you have Rodgers right now, and he has arguably his best year this past year here with LaFleur, but you had the tension that stemmed back to the draft and possibly even years before that. It's front office, and it's just that they're on a different trajectory than what Rodgers wants. Rodgers wants to win right now. And Rodgers wants as much as he can, and he wants as much, like, say, in his career when it comes to staying in Green Bay. That's what he wants. And he wanted that security. Well, as soon as they drafted Jordan Love last year, he didn't decide that anymore. And also, like, from Rodgers' standards, 2019 was not really his best year. If you watch, like, what he did in that offense, I mean, the defense kind of carried them for half the year, which is weird to think about forever for a Packers team. But they did, and the running game was very good. 2020, Rodgers took it to a whole new level, had a great year and whatnot. So I think it's from the standpoint of Rodgers is looking at it like this. This is the most amount of leverage that I am ever going to have. I was MVP this past year. I'm only guaranteed contract for the Packers for this year. After this, there's the guaranteed money really drops off. So I think Rodgers is looking at it like, I would like some conversations to be had about me potentially going somewhere else to play here for my career. Because at least at that point, I have some kind of say. Because if you're looking at it from Rodgers' perspective, he's still obviously the starting quarterback for the Packers, but he's also a placeholder because it's a ticking time bomb until Jordan Love plays, because Jordan Love's a first-round pick. So you're going to have him play. Because guess what? That 5th year is going to be coming up here soon. And you have to know, based on that 5th year, are you picking up that option? So it's kind of a rough situation for the Packers front office to be in, because you looked at it like, if you really did like Jordan Love, obviously you did, because you went up to the first round to draft him. Like, I mean, BK and Ryan, I know you touched upon it in the pre-show. Like, how do you not talk to him? Like, I mean, there should have been some better conversation between the both of them. Because, like, if Rodgers honestly wanted, like, some of these guys, or, you know, if there's some supposed, like, free agents out there. I mean, I know we talked about, like, Will Fuller, you know, at the trade deadline. If he really wanted, like, Will Fuller or someone else, he's got to also say something, too. So I think there was just a lack of communication on both fronts. But what sucks is, like, if you look at the Packers draft, they drafted exactly what they needed. I mean, they need defensive help. They needed offensive line help. They got Rodgers a receiver. Like, I mean, the draft was what it was, but I just think at this point, the organization kind of sees it one way, and Rodgers sees it another way. And he just, which is kind of baffling to me, because, I mean, how did he not see what the Packers did with Favre and just be like, dude, you can't really stay there forever? I mean, look at Brady in New England. I mean, Brady didn't stay in New England forever either. So, like, for him to think, I don't know if he was, you know, like, thinking in a fairy tale world where, like, oh, yeah, I'll just be a Packer forever. It's going to be great, whatever. Like, I just don't know. But as a Packer fan, going down to the draft in Cleveland felt very awkward, wearing my Packer stuff, being like, is Rodgers honestly getting dealt tonight? I don't know. Like, what direction are we taking?
Boy.
But it was a very, very awkward situation. And I'm just intrigued to see how it plays out. I mean, it might be like last year at this time when we were watching The Last Dance. Like, is that what it's going to be for the Packers right now, where Last Dance with Rodgers, then you just, you know, turn over the keys to Jordan Love? But, I mean, Jordan Love's the key to this whole thing, because if Rodgers does get dealt this year, which the Packers have all the leverage, like, to deal Rodgers or not, if they do deal him, they obviously see Jordan Love as the guy. But also, you got to think of it like this. Jordan Love didn't suit up for any of the games last year. So if Jordan Love was really that close, like, he would have been backing up him, you know, this entire year, but he wasn't. So that's why if I was, you know, Gunta Kuntz, and I was like, you know, I'm not trading Rodgers. Well, yeah, I'm not going to trade Rodgers. So that's why this whole thing came out. And I just, to me, from, like, being a Packer fan, like, I just don't see Rodgers just doing this just to do it. I think somehow this information got leaked. I think he even said it on Saturday at the Derby. He was hoping this all stayed in-house. Like, I mean, like, who does this benefit for this to come out? It does not benefit the Packers. It does not benefit Aaron Rodgers. You know, and Terry Bradshaw says some stupid stuff, but that's fine. You know, about Rodgers, which was just so dumb. But yeah, I mean, that's my little Packers rant. I mean, I'll get to, you know, one of you guys can go now, but I mean, that's I just don't know how to feel as a Packer fan, really. I just don't know how to feel.
BK, I'll let you go, but first I just want to say Frank said the cheese has gone bad. Definitely feels that way up north. Cheese, or at least it's on its way to going bad. BK, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so P2 touched upon it perfectly with the lack of communication and probably a very solid point on both sides. And I was listening to ESPN Radio this weekend. They had Warren Moon on there to talk about, you know, his thoughts and feelings about it. And he was like, well, yeah, he was like, you know, if I'm the starting quarterback, he's like, I want you to ask my opinion on things on, like, who you're looking at and who you're drafting. He's like, but at the end of the day, you don't get to make that call because, like, you're the quarterback. They pay a lot of people a lot of money to do a lot of, I mean, research, tape watching, note taking, and everything, and interviews to do that. He's like, but at the end of the day, it comes back to that communication from the top, you know, to the bottom. They probably didn't talk. It sounds like they didn't talk to Rodgers at all about the whole trading up to get Love. Now, if Love falls into your laps or he falls, like, super late into the first round and then they trade up, that's kind of different. But it's not like Jordan Love was plummeting there. That wasn't happening. And then, and to also touch upon P2's point here again, is to where with Love and is he ready? Is that last offseason was a COVID offseason. It was shortened. A lot of these rookies couldn't get into camp and have all that development, essentially. And then now you think about we're losing a preseason game going forward, how that's going to affect players, young guys just getting better and developing. the whole Jordan Love thing's just in the air, and to compare and contrast like with Rodgers and Packers to like Brady and the Bucks, like right now, it's the Bucks talked to Brady about drafting a quarterback, and when they drafted Kyle Trask, Brady wasn't blindsided. He knew about it. They talked about it. Everything was kosher. They laid everything on the table, and like I said in the pre-show, when the Ravens drafted Lamar Jackson, they had sat down Joe Flacco that offseason. Harbs and Flacco played a round of golf together and talked about how they were looking at drafting a quarterback, a new cornerstone piece going forward. And when you're honest like that, because guys know it is a business, but when you're honest, it just like looks better. You're not trying to hide anything. And something we did not talk about in the pre-show here is that there is an out in Aaron Rodgers' contract after this year. There is just over 17 million in dead cap after this year. So there is an out, and I'm gonna tie this point into here right before I hand it over to you, Ryan. And we talked about how Rodgers hasn't gotten any help, and the last time in a decade that essentially the Packers have drafted an offensive player, and it was Devontae Adams in 2014, second round, and Jordan Love there, kind of like early, but like in the first round they haven't drafted anyone. We brought up Jordy Nelson. He was drafted in the second round, 2008. Donald Driver, 7th round, 1999. James Jones, 3rd round, 2007. There's not a lot of guys that are in there, and so I'll hand it over to you, Ryan.
Yeah, here's where I'm at on it, right? When it started on Thursday, I was just very much like, okay, well, let's see where this goes, because we thought last year, like after Jordan Love was drafted, this was going to be, like there was going to be an issue. Listen, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers, and this is not me as a Bears fan, I have no problems with Aaron Rodgers admitting that Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest of all time. He will go down as one of the greatest of all time. Aaron Rodgers, just like I think a lot of quarterbacks are, star quarterbacks, which, as a Bears fan, we don't have a lot of experience with that, but they are divas to an extent. I think it comes with the territory. Aaron Rodgers, notably, I think, has always kind of had this like weird kind of, not weird, but this sensitive vibe to him. I think that he gives off, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but Aaron, it's kind of like when they talked about the draft and he went on the Pat McAfee show and he talked about the guys that he liked and the guys the Packers should have looked at, and this stuff. And then Aaron Rodgers is a very smart dude. Okay, if you didn't understand that by now, then you weren't paying attention when he went on there and hosted Jeopardy and like all the interviews that he does. He's a very, very smart, well articulated guy, and I think there's always a mindset behind what he's doing. He's not dumb. You know what I mean? When it comes to this, as I was sitting there on Thursday, I was very aggravated that I went from draft talk to Tim Tebow possibly coming in as a tight end. I was like, wow, holy shit. Imagine that. Tebow wants to get it in the news on the draft day. Aaron Rodgers wants to get in on this today on Thursday of the NFL draft. The story of, or the point I heard from people, right, are, Aaron Rodgers still very, very much bothered him. It still to this day bothers him that he dropped as far as he did in his own draft. Whether that's true, whether that does really bother him, wouldn't really shock me if it did. But I think that what bothered me the most, if what Pete says is true, and that it's an eternal leak, okay, and that's fine. That happens, and that just unfortunately was at a really bad time. If it's not, and it really was Rodgers of his team that's like got tired of it, right? Got tired of how it was going. Supposedly this has been going on since February. There was kind of like some issues going on, and then it just kind of boiled over. I would be very, very upset just because it's the NFL draft. It's the day that these kids they look forward to. They work their ass off for that moment, right? When now obviously COVID's a little weird, so only like 13 of them were able to be there to walk on the stage in the first round. But it's their moment. And Joe Horn, former receiver for the New Orleans Saints, his son was drafted, I believe, by the Carolina Panthers, J.C. Horn, corner. and he talked about how it was kind of ridiculous that like he turned on the TV that day, or you turn on Sports Center or whatever, and they're not talking about Trevor Lawrence going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not talking about the rest of the draft. They're not talking about his own son. No. They're talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers on a day that it's not supposed to be about Aaron. Like, you know what I mean? It's just not. That's why, like, if that is the case, and that Aaron did, or his teams, did this to try and stir it up because he wants out, I have no problem with Aaron Rodgers wanting out of Green Bay. I don't see an issue with that. One, I'm a Bears fan. That's cool with me. Two, like, dude's like what, 38 years old. Life changes, man. He just got married to, I cannot remember her name, but she's in Divergent, and maybe he wants to dip. Maybe he's like, I don't want to be in Green Bay anymore. I want to go back out towards the West. I want to go back towards, he's a Cali kid. And maybe that was part of it. Maybe he just doesn't like how things have gone down. I don't blame him necessarily for having issues with the GM or the higher ups, because there's a lack of communication. At least that's the picture that's been painted for the last 5 years or so, I think, is that there is a communication issue within the top brass of the Green Bay Packers and their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. This isn't like, Jay Cutler, right, in the Bears front office. Okay, that's different. Listen, big fan of Cuddy, and Cuddy I trust forever, but, like, I would be insulted if he thought he needed to actually hear what was going on with the Bears. I'd be like, come on, dude. Let's go chill. Aaron Rodgers, that's a different thing, right? That is a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. That is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. That is an MVP quarterback. That is a cornerstone of your franchise, and he should be involved in those discussions. Should have been involved in the discussions when they were looking for a new head coach after Mike McCarthy, considering he's the one that got into it with Mike McCarthy. Probably should have had some input on that. Not that there's anything wrong with Matt LaFleur at all. Perfectly fine. But I think that I don't blame Rodgers for wanting to dip. And I understand, to Pete's point, like, did he think that he was going to be a Packer forever? I'm sure part of him did.
Yep.
I'm sure part of Brady probably thought he was going to be a Patriot forever. But, like, it does happen. This is a business. I just don't like the timing of it. That's what bothered me the most. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and no, and I just don't think Rodgers, wanted that either. Because, I mean, he was on that first round stage. Like, he was part of that, and he was part of the, whole process of it. So that's why, to me, I just don't understand the timing of it. I also don't understand, like from Rodgers' perspective, if Rodgers really wanted to be traded or wanted out, why didn't he ask for it last year? That's the thing that I just didn't understand, is if he really wanted out, why didn't he ask for it last year? Because you think about it, he only has 1 year left on his deal.
Right.
That's it. Really? Well, for like him to then dip. So if Rodgers really wanted out, he would have left last year. If he were actually that pissed about this whole thing, like, that's would have been the thing. I just think he wanted to be a Packer, and he wanted his say, and he doesn't have that leverage anymore. And it's just, he's looking at it like, I'm just holding down the fort for Jordan Love, and he just didn't think it was that was going to happen there for him. So, and I mean, just back to like the point about like, the Packers never, surrounding him with a, great cast. I mean, he only has like an all-world left tackle, Pro Bowl starting center, a top 5, top 10 running back in Aaron Jones, and then a great one-two punch in A.J. Dillon, who we saw at the end of the year kill it. He has possibly the top receiver in football in Devontae Adams. He has Robert Tonyan, who led the NFL in touchdown catches for a tight end. Like, the whole narrative by the media is a bunch of BS, and I'm so sick of it about not surrounding him. You know why they won defense? Because most of the time their defense stinks. I mean, let's look at Kevin King in the NFC Championships game. Perfect example. I mean, we look at 2016 when they played against Atlanta, BK, when we watched that game at East Coast. That defense, they had an unrestricted cornerback out there against Julio Jones, like, opposite against him. So, like, the narrative that like, oh, they never draft. You know why? They're drafting a need because their defense stinks and they keep messing up on it. And that's my thing. That it's always been as a Packer fan. That's why I've never been, like, oh, they've never given them the supporting cast. And like, I mean, I get it. Yeah, maybe, higher, draft pick could have gotten like a first round receiver, a couple other times. Yes, they messed up. I don't know. The jury's still out on Jordan Love. Who knows? Maybe he's good. People said the same thing when Rodgers got drafted. They were like, why would you do that with Favre? So, I mean, we don't know. I mean, I love when we're going to talk about the draft here, obviously, shortly, but I love when we do draft grades and it's just like, I mean, they're based on names. We don't know how good these kids are going to be. So, I don't know. As a Packer fan, if I'm going to look at this as a Packer fan, I'm going to go based on the last 20 years, 25 years. The franchise has done really well. I mean, they have. Yes, would you wanted more Super Bowls with Rodgers? Absolutely. 100%. 100% would want more Super Bowls with him. But, like, you know how tough it is to win? I mean, look at Peyton and Indy. Dominant. And only had one ring there. And then he had to go to Denver with a great defense and won. So that's, I mean,
great offense, honestly. The pieces were.
Oh my God, absolutely stacked around him. So, yeah, I mean that's just my point about it. I mean that's what I'll end with because I've talked enough about Rodgers and I'm just so over it.
I like what you brought up about the defense because I wanted to bring that up too, at least touch upon it here before if we move into the next topic or not. We'll let the hostess with the mostest decide that. But always the slight against Rodgers that you hear, and not a slight against him necessarily, but in terms of a greatness and Super Bowl victories, always like, well, if Rodgers would have had Brady's defense, he would have won more championships. He would have won more Super Bowls. I mean, you heard it everywhere. That was always the thing. And so I 100% agree with that point as to where they were trying to address the defense. Now, could he get mad and be like, the scouting department sucks and you guys need to draft better people, better defensemen?
Yes.
Or maybe they're drafting the right guys and they're not developing them correctly. I can understand his gripes from that angle. And then maybe in his mind here, just trying to, if he does really want out that badly, it's where he's like, all right, since like you guys can't develop defensive players with a dog dookie outside of Clay Matthews, just give me the most firepower that we can, and maybe we'll just outscore everyone and we'll hope for the best. I don't know. I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes. But yeah, and the whole narrative that. And I think the narrative is just those first round things, and because here of late, I mean, look at Mahomes in Kansas City, to where they were surrounding him with talent immediately.
Yep.
I mean, they did not hesitate. And on the Ravens with Lamar, I mean, they drafted Hollywood Brown, then they drafted Hayden Hurst that same year, Mark Andrews in the fourth round. They just drafted Rashad Bateman this year. And then J.K. Dobbins last year in the second round didn't even need a running back, but they were like, "Oh, here you go. We're gonna give you another great running back." Is to where, and then honestly, Miles Boykin was a third round pick. He hasn't really panned out. So like, I think it's just more recently where that's like turned into a narrative because the wide receivers are more important in today's NFL than they've ever been, and so I think that's what it is. Historically, the Packers didn't have to grab the guy early. They could grab them like I said. You could grab the Jordys second round pretty high, but they Donald Driver, diamond in the rough. James Jones, third round pick, and then Amari Rodgers here, third round. It's where you could historically, I think it was probably easier to draft those diamonds in the rough then, but then I think it's harder now because there's so much emphasis on the position. A lot of those guys go early, and then this year, the wide receiver draft class is deep as it'll probably be for the next decade, honestly. This class was just loaded top to bottom. And I think that's where a lot of this recency bias and frustration comes from, too. And then also another thing to touch upon here is that when the whole transition, when Rodgers was drafted and then transitioning from Favre into Rodgers, we didn't have social media.
Yeah.
We didn't have this 24/7 news cycle for sports, which is bullshit, to be honest. We didn't have that before, but now we do. And so honestly, I think someone in the Packers organization said something they shouldn't have, or maybe Aaron Rodgers' camp just said something in an offhand conversation, and it leaked out because of that. So there's a whole lot of factors at play here.
Yep.
But and I do trust Rodgers in this case. I will side with P2 on this. That I don't think he would have done this like on purpose at all. I don't believe that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens here now with this Rodgers saga. Yeah, he was at the Derby this weekend and having a good time, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see, right? It was kind of the position we were already in after they drafted Jordan Love, and we're back in that position again. So we'll see what happens. Let's get to the NFL draft, though. It was the last Thursday. The first round, of course, happens on Thursday. Second and third rounds happen on Friday, and then the rest of the draft, 4 through 7, happens on Saturday. First round. We knew the first 2 picks, right? We've known them forever. We've known them for over like 2 months now, it feels like, at least the second pick. Trevor Lawrence, number 1 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Zach Wilson, number 2 to the New York Jets. But the number 3, when San Francisco traded up, we no longer knew what was going to happen. Was it going to be Justin Fields? Was it going to be Mac Jones? That seemed like the name Shanahan really liked. Or was it going to be Trey Lance? And it ended up being Trey Lance, and that is when things got a little wacky. But I think actually when it got real weird was Patrick Surtain getting drafted by the Broncos. That is when everything started to go all over the place because the Broncos didn't go for a quarterback. So then it became, oh, okay, now what are we getting? What's going to happen? And it all kind of started to shake out a little bit. We also saw some former teammates uniting. Joe Burrow got his former Jamar Chase there from LSU. Tua got Jalen Waddle. Miami decided to go with Waddle over Devonta Smith, who went to Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Smith, where they haven't played, or Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith. They haven't played very much together, but they were teammates, and they did play a little bit. They did play a little bit together. But yeah, we got that. And then mid-show AM Nation pod on Thursday, I'm in the middle of like talking about Mortal Kombat or something, and BK and David both stopped me. And David's like, "I'm gonna cut you off real quick," and I'm like, "I don't know what." I'm like, "What?" I was very thrown off, and I look over to my left of the TV, and sure as shit, the Bears moved up to pick number 11, and I was in shock. As I feel like many Bears fans were. We kept hearing about it all week, that to watch for the Bears to be movers. I was like, my biggest take before the draft was I don't know how much, like, are they allowing the Bears to actually go out and make a move like this? I will say I did predict Pete's point that he reminded me, because I would have forgot, that I did pick that Justin Fields is going to be a Chicago Bear, and damn it, it happened. The Bears trade from 20th to 11th, and they get their guy in Justin Fields as their next future franchise quarterback of the Chicago Bears. And I think as Bears fans, you have to feel better than that than you did about the Trubisky pick. Of course, you should. Even when the Trubisky pick happened, I just remember everybody at the draft just go, no, just like Michael Scott in the office, just very upset because Deshaun Watson, of course, was there. And this felt great, and I think David and I were both at the time like, please don't be Mac Jones. Please don't be Mac Jones. Please don't be Mac Jones. Like, don't do that. And thank God it was Justin Fields. I'm very excited for that. It was unbelievable. It was crazy. I wasn't expecting the Bears to make such a move like that, but they did. And now it becomes like, how long until Justin Fields actually starts for the Chicago Bears? I don't know. I don't know what the plan is going to be, but I feel like I'll get through the rest of the draft here, but I definitely feel like Ryan Pace's draft put more pressure on Matt Nagy as well, to really, besides the fact of himself. But Ryan Pace overall, I think, had a great draft, and Matt Nagy, there's a lot of pressure on him now if he can develop, because now all of a sudden, right, I guess, he got his guy. Trubisky wasn't his guy, and now he's got one in Justin Fields. So we'll see how that works out. Also, there was inter-division trade between the Eagles and Cowboys that I thought was weird, but I listened to some interviews about that, and like, they made a good point that you're going to see more teams do this because they're more worried about themselves. Like, they're worried about what they're doing. They're not worried about, like, it's same with the Bears and Packers, right? If the Bears would have made a move, the Packers would have made a move to flip spots with the Bears. I'm sure at first we would have looked kind of like confused about it, but at the same time, it's also, they're both focused. Both those organizations are focused on themselves. You can't be focused on what the other organization is doing when it comes to building like that. The Patriots didn't even have to move and got their guy Mac Jones at 15. Great for the Patriots. Steelers got Najee Harris, running back out of Alabama. That was a really good need for them. Also, really cool about Najee Harris that he was at a homeless shelter where he spent some time when he was younger in his hometown, and immediately after being drafted by Pittsburgh, already looking into the homeless situation and stuff like that out there and how it can help. So there you go. That's a class act you want right away, and the Steelers did a fantastic job there. Baltimore get Rashad Bateman and Odafe Owe. That's pretty awesome too. Big holes right there they're able to fill, and the Packers grab Eric Stokes, corner out of Georgia. First, BK, your thoughts on the Ravens first round, and did anybody anything else surprise you about the first round?
So I'll talk about the Ravens first before I get into surprises. I was surprised Bateman was there for the Ravens. Mm-hmm. Honestly, with the first pick, with their first pick at 27, there were rumors that he was going to go in the teens, if not the early 20s at the latest. But he was there, so I was very happy they did not trade back. Was able to get him, and then getting Odafe Owe. Hopefully, we're just saying that name right. He formerly Jason. That's his middle name, but he in his first little kind of press conference there with the media and everything with the Ravens, he'd say we would like to go by his first name. Mm-hmm. So completely understand. And the Ravens need D-end help. I mean, they lost Yannick Ngakoue and they lost Matt Judon, so they lost their top two edge rushers literally from last year. So they needed someone to replace that. Get the most athletic freak for D-end in the draft. Owe ran a better 40 time than Bateman. He's like 6'5", and he ran I think it might have been like maybe 2 seconds worse, but he ran in the low 4.4s as a D-end, which is nuts.
Damn.
It's crazy. So he's a absolute freak, and apparently one of the top scouts for the Ravens was after seeing the workout, he said it was the best workout he's ever seen from the outside linebacker / edge rusher, and I think that's kind of what prompted them to be like, all right, we're gonna roll on this guy. So I like it. In terms of surprises, and if no one's saying this, but I think I've seen it quite a few places. Gettleman with the Giants, he's never traded back before in the first round. And he decides to do it 2 times. So the first time ever he did it, he loved it so much he decided to do it again. And still picked up a receiver in Tooney from Florida to go along with those other weapons for Daniel Jones. This is a put up or shut up year for Daniel Jones, to be honest. The O-line will still be sketchy, but goodness gracious, skill positions, he's going to have tons of weapons. With Tooney, they just brought in Galladay. They're going to have Darius Slayton. They're going to have Sterling Shepard. They're going to have Melvin Ingram.
Saquon Barkley.
And Saquon Barkley. If they can just get a little bit more help on that line, holy moly, that offense should, in theory, or at least on paper, I should say, on paper, should be dynamite. That was and perhaps my biggest surprise personally, because I didn't see that coming with the Giants just trading back twice. I think it was smart because I thought the Ravens were going to do that. In all honesty, and great draft for the Steelers there with Najee Harris. They lost James Conner. He signed elsewhere in free agency. We talked about the other week. Please refer to a previous podcast because I can't remember offhand.
I think he went to Arizona.
Don't really feel like remembering. Good for him.
Out there with Dan.
Yay. Yeah. Dan, get out there, get the training camp, get some boots on the ground, get out there, big guy. We're the AM Nation, so proud. It's a great draft pick. It's just, it goes back into where, do the Steelers get enough O-line help to where he's gonna blossom. He's certainly a bruiser, built similarly to, the bust Jerome Bettis, big guy. And the thing about Jerome Bettis too, is I don't know if people realize, is that just he's like Twinkle Toes, Aang from Avatar: Last Airbender. And if you haven't seen that podcast, go back and listen to that one too. Check it out. Yes, I'm just throwing it back to. But man, he had some of the quickest, nimblest feet for a big man ever, and it looks like Najee Harris could be the same way.
100%. Pete, your thoughts on Eric Stokes, and then any surprises from this first round?
I'm all about Eric Stokes. Let's go, man. We're getting an athlete. Stokes? I'm stoked for Stoke. Let's do it, man. I mean, they're getting a corner out of BK. I'm sorry to say it, man. It is the best football conference out of the SEC. So, I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they are.
Hey, it pains me to say that too. So, no, for the experience that Eric Stokes had, I mean, we talked about Waddle, we talked about Devontae Smith. I mean, the receivers he went up against in SEC play. No, I'm thrilled about the pick. They needed help at corner. Obviously, that was a big issue in the NFC Championship game that came up. Yeah, dude can fly. He's like a 4.29 40. Their scouts were impressive him, and also he's not going to have the pressure. He doesn't have to be the number one corner. That's Jair Alexander. So you got Eric Stokes right there. You have Kevin King here for another year to basically learn and teach Eric, and then Kevin can leave. I mean, Kevin King can leave after that. So teach Eric. That's your job this year. Other than that, surprise of the first round, not really much. The Bateman pick I loved by the Ravens. I would have loved for him to fall to the Packers. Big explosive receiver. Or Elijah Moore, but the Packers addressed that later in the draft with a slot receiver. So no, I think honestly the surprise of the draft is New England got Mac Jones at 15 and didn't have to move. I thought that was like the biggest surprise. And I mean the Bears being able to move up and Fields dropping to them, as much as he did. So that was, obviously the two biggest surprises I would say of the draft for the first round.
Of course. Also a great moment. Frank talked about Kwity. I think it's Kwity Paye.
Kwity Paye.
Yeah, and he talked about his mom no longer has to work again in her life. That was pretty awesome. That's what it's all about. That was pretty great too. Second round and third round we'll go through here. Kyle Trask goes at the end of the second round to Tampa Bay. BK alluded to that earlier. The Jets were really retooling their offense with their first three picks all being offensive based. The Bears traded up again in the second round and get a monster of a lineman and offensive lineman and Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. The Browns somehow get Jeremiah Owusi Koromoa at 52. Kind of shit is that, dude? My God.
Great pick. I saw him dropping, and I was just like, oh my God. I was like, the Ravens don't have a second round draft pick. This is insane. Like, it's such a good value here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I guess the reason why is because his medical came back as kind of a red flag. There was some kind of maybe heart condition that teams were hesitant about with him. I mean, his size, it's not like, the prototypical like linebacker size, for weight. But I mean, the NFL is different than it is, 10 years ago. So get over it, the people that are worried about weight. But no, there was, I guess, a heart condition, and the Browns were just like, no, he's fine. And I guess after the draft, it came out that everything was okay, but that was like a red flag. But yeah, great value pick by the Browns here.
Fantastic, of course, for the Browns. And then the Packers get some O-line help with Josh Myers in the second round.
Go.
And then in the third round, we got back-to-back quarterbacks going 2 and 3, I believe. Is Kellen Mond to Minnesota and Davis Mills to Houston. Diami Brown lands in Washington. The Packers did draft the wide receiver spot with Amari Rodgers from Clemson. I tell you, Rodgers, trying to help him out, bro.
Let's go.
Do what you gotta do.
Crazy. A-Rod to A-Rod. There.
You gotta love it, because we all know Aaron Rodgers loves family, so this is fantastic. Ravens get offensive line up with Ben Cleveland. Ravens also grab a corner and Brandon Stevens. And the Steelers get some O-line help with Kendrick Green, big boy, from the Illini. Pretty sweet right there. And then obviously the 4th or 7th round. But I do want to ask you guys your overall thoughts on your team's draft, or if there's another team that stood out to you. But Pete, I'll start with you. Overall thoughts here on the Packers draft.
No, I like the Packers draft. They drafted what they needed. Josh Myers, I like him. He's basically like Corey Linsley like 10 years ago when he was at Ohio State. So I think this will be perfect because you needed to fill that need there at center. So I'm all about that. I talked about the Stokes pick. Amari Rodgers, I feel like it's underrated. I feel like the dude can be Randall Cobb 2.0. So that would be awesome. And then they drafted, a couple more corners there at the tail end of the draft and filled out some other needs there with some backup offensive linemen because you always have to have that. So, no, overall, I like the draft. I think they did a good job. But, yeah, I got no complaints from the draft there.
BK, how about your Ravens?
Before I actually get into the Ravens, I want to talk about some of those round 3 picks there, especially Kellen Mond and Davis Mills specifically. Smart on the Vikings' part, just like with Kirk Cousins' contract, because I think they only have him for another year or two. You can draft this guy; it's a 3rd round pick. So you're not investing a whole lot initially in the front end on him. See if he develops. It's worth a flyer in the 3rd round. I think that was really smart. And then also, Houston's first pick was in the 3rd round. They draft a quarterback, Davis Mills, who was one of the top recruits out of high school, coming out, went to Stanford, had injury issues. But I mean, this guy has had the pedigree, at least coming out. So that's super interesting. That lets you know, that kind of almost tips Houston's hand as to what they think is going to happen with Watson. I don't think Watson's coming back to Houston. Potentially ever. They usually use their first pick on a guy. That says a lot. Going back into the Ravens draft class here, I'm very fortunate as a Ravens fan. They've normally been pretty darn good at the drafts throughout the years. The Ben Cleveland pick is great. I mean, they call him Big Country. I don't know if you guys just saw, he literally, his upper body is just huge. He looks just like a giant, power lifter. And he's so country that he really goes out, shoots squirrel, makes squirrel stew, all that stuff like that. He is a country dude through and through. You gotta love it. Another couple other picks here. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but Brandon Stevens, the cornerback from SMU, used to be a running back at UCLA and then transferred, moved to corner with SMU. He's brand new to the position, so it's a risky pick, but it's also high upside, especially there at the end of the 3rd round. I think that's a great pick because you can't have too many guys in your secondary with how many 3, 4, sometimes 5 wide receiver sets that you're seeing. Too many guys that can get after the quarterback and that can cover wide receivers. You want to have too many of those guys. So I really, really like that pick on the high upside. And then also the 7th round pick here, Ben Mason, fullback / tight end / H-back, the old school H-back, where he's going to be potentially a Pat Ricard. Pat Ricard enters the final year of his contract this coming year. Who knows if he comes back? I know the Ravens love him. I love him because he also plays on the defense too. He's played D end. He's played D line. He's just a great all around football player. But I don't know if he'll be able to stay. It's like Juszczyk. We use Kyle Juszczyk the same way when we drafted him out of Harvard, I believe, all those years ago. And then when he was eligible to hit free agency, he got a fat contract from Kyle Shanahan to go out to the West Coast and play out there. So I think Ben Mason is kind of shoring that up just in case Ricard does leave. And it's, and I said 7th round, excuse me, it's 5th round for Ben Mason. I misspoke there out of Michigan. It was a fun draft. Did it go a little late in the evening for my taste?
Sure did.
Especially on that Thursday night. Yes. Please start it an hour earlier, if not 2.
Yeah, or cut the pick time down. Damn. Dude.
Yeah, well, okay, and maybe I might sound like a butt face here, and that's okay. It wouldn't be outside of the norm for this podcast for me to sound like an asshole. It's to where I guess it's kind of cool. They have all these other people do the picks, but they get into spiels half the time. All these other people doing picks, and I guess it's kind of cool. They have this opportunity to get up there on stage and do all this. But it's you're making the draft a lot longer than it needs to be, and it's adding an extra fluff and bullshit that I don't care about. So if you're gonna do that, which is fine, you want to have more fan interaction, all these other little treats, start earlier. It doesn't need to start at 8. Needs to start at 6 p.m. The West Coast people, they're just going to kick out of work early on Thursday. Anyways, I know Dan's probably just screw this. I'm just going to go toss a couple back with the Phoenix Suns players while I'm watching the draft, all right? Because we know we're super buddy with them.
That'd be really pissed, man. We can't even get an interview. Can't do nothing, huh?
Yeah,
way to think of us.
Dan.
No, he's building up. He's compiling all the information, and then he's gonna give it all. He's just been working behind the scenes.
He's gonna Woj bomb us. I get it.
No.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. It's gonna be a frig bomb. No. I don't know, Frigster bomb.
No, Dan's getting too much credit now. Dan's getting way too much credit now.
My overall thoughts on the Bears draft. Surprise, surprise. I woke up Thursday ready to be hurt. And I was pleasantly surprised on how it went down. The Bears trading didn't even have to give that much to move up to 11 in hindsight, to go out there and get Justin Fields. That was really awesome because we haven't had a first round pick in a couple of years after the Khalil Mack trade. So pretty sweet to get Justin Fields there at 11, and then trading up again to get Tevin Jenkins, who I think a lot of people had pegged as a first round offensive tackle talent. And the Bears got him at 39, so that's really awesome. They also did, they continued to address the offensive line throughout the draft, and they even got themselves Daz Newsome out of North Carolina, so that was as wide receiver help as well. Also, remember this, Justin Fields did, his freshman year, got to play with Riley Ridley, so maybe Riley Ridley becomes something finally, and actually gets the ball thrown to him. You know, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, overall, man, really excited with the Bears draft. I talk about how, you know, the rest of us, most of us Bears fans, I think we're sitting there on the edge, just ready just to jump. We were just over it, like just whatever happens, and it's gonna be gross. But then they hooked them back in with the Justin Fields pick. The Justin Fields jersey, once they have the authentic ones up there, will be purchased immediately. Ready to go, ready to rock and roll for the season. I'm super excited for it. There's a great draft. But you know, we'll see what happens, right? It's all paper. So we will see. To Pete's point, like, we go out here and we give grades, and not like we know anything. Not like half of them do, right? We just watch film. Watch film on a guy, and that was it. And we don't know how that's gonna translate to the NFL, right? That's why there's so many people that are late rounds, then they end up being great, right? Obviously, Tom Brady, just to name one, or maybe, you know, Antonio Brown before got a little crazy. And those are just to name a few. So we'll see. But yeah, overall, I honestly thought that the Bears, the Ravens, the Packers, I thought they all did, you know, pretty damn good jobs of addressing what they needed to address, and that's the best part. Also, side note, the Browns did great. The whole city of Cleveland was fantastic. I gave the city of Cleveland so much credit. I was tweeting about it all, you know, Thursday and even Friday. Like, just absolutely fantastic. They were so electric. So shout out to you guys, Pete, and the city of Cleveland, man. You guys did great with the draft being there. It's the first live one, right? Because last year we had it from Goodell's basement. So to be able to go out there in Cleveland and to do it right, man, that was awesome.
Wasn't it weird that his chair was there?
So
I want to know who told him that. I want to know who at PR was like, yo, dude, they love the chair. Let's fucking put it out there, man.
So stupid.
So dumb. But how did you like the draft and all the activities, the extracurriculars, Pete?
Yeah.
Like, what's the scouting report on that?
I think everything was set up pretty great. Honestly, everything. I mean, I guess we're still in a pandemic, but like, as crazy as it was to have that many people, it was very organized. Like, everything was, you know, put into like the right spot of what it needed to be. You didn't feel closed in really at all. It felt, you know, pretty good, you know, from that perspective. I think having the MLB All-Star Game a few years ago really helped in terms of kind of the layout. It's because, I mean, the Brown Stadium's not like right next to the Indian Stadium, but it's like somewhere close so they can use like similar grounds and whatnot. But everything was awesome. I did a couple of the like football throwing like competition things. Didn't really look great, but Molly, shout out to her, nailed a few great pictures of me throwing it, looking pretty athletic. So, you know, that was pretty nice. They had like the like little like 10-yard like throw it into a net thing. And you know what? It's not as easy as it seems, especially when you're throwing with a ball that's like a little kid ball. And you're like, okay, trying to throw this in. That was a little bit hard. But then the other one, they did like they had like a bigger netting that was like 10 yards. Another one was like 20, and the other one was like 30 yards. So everybody, you know, thought how cool they were and kept throwing to the 30-yard one. And we had beautiful weather here in, you know, OHIO of Cleveland, Ohio. On Thursday, that was just rain and disgusting. and it was like perfect Cleveland weather. Like, I don't know, it's just like the buildings, half of it had fog, so it was like, oh, this is a perfect night for them to have the draft. But so you're throwing with this like ball that's just soaked. There were a couple that, I mean, because you got like two throws, both of them were close that I had. They weren't that far off. I didn't go for the 30-yard because like where that angle was, I was like, no, I'm gonna like pull something, you know, feel like crap the next day. I'm not doing that. So I went for the 20-yard, and I was like so close to both of them, and I was like, damn it. But I told Molly that she definitely should have just went for the 10-yard and then like showed us up and been like, oh, see, I did it. See, you guys, because it was me and my future brother-in-law, and we would have been like, oh, look how dumb we look, and then Molly nails it. So, but no, it was cool. You got to go on the field. Everything was separated. So that was kind of cool from that perspective. The stage setup was pretty nice. It was nice to have like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the background too. I wish I would have like went down there earlier because there was some of the stuff that we just didn't even get to. But no, I think the city of Cleveland nailed it. I just wish we would have been there maybe for Friday or Saturday when it was like a nice day from that perspective. But it was still cool to be. I can say I was at the draft, so I can't complain. It was pretty awesome.
Fantastic. Next year, Vegas, you're up for real this time. So we'll see how the draft goes out there in the Sin City. But yeah, Cleveland did a fantastic job. That was awesome. Anything else before we wrap this show up?
Sir.
All right,
No.
let's wrap up episode 167. Everybody, thank you for listening. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. It's at AM Nation Pod. Hit the follow button on both of those. On YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation and hit that sub button. You can listen to us on podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. While you're there, make sure you follow the show on those and share it with a friend. We appreciate it. You can watch us stream the shows on our Twitter and our YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesday sports shows, Thursday gaming. You can also watch us on twitch.tv/undeadblackbull. Make sure you go on there and follow him. And you also give David a sub as well. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free sub a month. So give it to Undead Black Bull. If you want to be just like Elaine and be a part of the show, leave a voicemail or text the show with your comments, questions, all that good stuff. 815-556-9089. And like I said at the beginning of the show, we are raising money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. You can find the link on our pinned tweet on Twitter at AMNationPod, on David's Twitter at UndeadBlackBull, and on twitch.tv/UndeadBlackBull as well. If we hit the $500 goal, I take a pie to the face. Mike says if we hit 600, he'll eat a pie. So whatever happens, happens. BK's still pulling for someone to get kicked in the nuts. So we're gonna see how it goes as the charity the continues. The race continues. So we will see. I think that does it all. Everybody have a great rest of your week. We'll see you Thursday. Be safe, and as always, you stay breezy.